Hello there. I'm Franklin, your astrologer, and this is the Cosmic Watch, where we read the skies and all the phenomenon that go on up in the skies and try to make sense of it. What people have been trying to do for about 25,000 years. The sky was the first reading material. Uh, Imagine a world with no electric lights. How clearly the sky must have been seen in olden times. At this day is a pretty peculiar one. It's a two, and it's a two in so many different ways. The date is December the 2nd of 2022, and that date is just full of twos. This is the 12th month in December, and until the calendar changed, 1,000 years ago or so, there were only 10 months in a year, and just since we have changed over, do do we use 10, 11, and 12 as numbers in the system? And SJ saying hello, and Cody also saying hello. Thank you very much for being here. Our chat room guests are with us on this Sagittarius night. It is your sun sign is in Sagittarius if you're born today, and the moon sign is in Aries for today. And with all these twos in today's date, it and the day adds up to a 20, and that makes it an official 202. And how am I is asking SJ. And it's been a very hectic kind of a week. Things have been changing all of a sudden, and it's the last couple of days have been under this Aries moon that we have right now, and there's been in my life there's been people coming and going, and knee-jerk reactions and all the things that we think of with Aries people who tend to act first and think later. Cody saying you got that right, and SJ saying we got through, and as a reward next week we're going to have the full moon. Full moon will rise in Pisces. So don't be surprised that next week you have a hard time sleeping and a hard time dreaming, because your daydreams are going to interfere with your nighttime dreams. So that's a little something to look forward to. The moon in Aries, which we have right now, means everything is moving too fast, and we're making snap decisions, and that's really what you have to fight against. If you're a Cody is saying, SJ say Pisces here to SJ. Cody said had a hard time from last night, and there's it is this particular time that it's very hard to sleep just before the full moon. When your body, from any sort of illness or any kind of problem, your body recovers much faster right after the full moon. It's those 2 weeks right after the full moon, your body will make a faster recovery, and that's the waning moon, and it is much better for you. SJ says been having a hard time sleeping too, and one of the things, of course, that's throwing everyone off is the change in the seasons, the suddenly getting dark very early in the afternoon, and daylight And nighttime, boy, you don't realize how important they are to you until you get adjusted, right? And this December is we're going to have an even bigger 2 day on December 22nd of 2022, and we're finishing up these big twos. And Cody says it does make sense, and the full moon also has an awful lot to do with with what happens on this planet. The moon is the closest of all the heavenly bodies to us and has the biggest effects. Angela saying, good evening. Angela, nice to have you along with us. We're as a matter of fact, let's start with you and see what we can find out that is going on in Angela's life. And Angela, you seem to be an intuitive person, a very psychically connected person, and also new here. And we really appreciate you coming by and joining the conversation with people who have had their epiphanies, people who understand the spirit world and want to go further, want to find out. Grateful to be here, says Angela, and that's the trick to enjoying life, isn't it? Enjoying wherever you are and enjoying who you are, and being grateful is such a big part of everything that we do. Taking things for granted will get you in a lot of trouble. And Angela says, amen to that. And Angela, it looks as though there's a change coming in your life. Uh, uh, a change that not everybody wants. That people are going to, some are going to be for it, and some aren't. So it looks like a big change coming into your life. And of course, right here at the end of the year, you you know that as we as we plan through a year, we and I'm open minded to that. Yes, yes, change always comes through our life, satisfied or dissatisfied with your life. Uh, our connection is a bit unstable, they say. So here now we're all back together. The the thing about twos that is going to happen. The, this change in your life, Angela, is is being is being orchestrated by the fact that you're still trying to straighten out something that happened a couple of years ago, like back at the pandemic, right? Something, of course, we all went through huge changes at that time, and the the way things are going. Last year was a six. Uh, 2022 was a 6 year, and that means that misunderstandings could finally be resolved harmoniously. And then the year before, 2021, was all about, it was a five. It was all about change and instability. And the good news is that next year will be a seven. And seven is the mystical number. I mean, there's seven chakras, seven seas, seven heavens, seven colors that you can see. There's seven musical notes, and seven is the year that we'll all be able to better understand our own life purpose. Angela says, I do feel major changes will be happening. This is it looks like you're orchestrating some big New Year's resolutions. And at about New Year's, things are put it to use and understand why it came into your life. So it's a very good change, and all of us are um, are looking for changes in this very 2 day. The vibration of two is showing your sensitivity to others, but not getting lost in other people like a chameleon, not turning in to that other person, being careful not to get lost serving other people. There's you have to set your boundaries, set your limits, and that's what two is about. When you have twos that come up in a reading, in new person or a new spirit guide or something new coming into your life, that's what twos are all about. And boy, this is such a 2 day, and um, if we look back a bit, Cody saying from last night, a lot going on in Cody's life with a lot on his mind from last night. Yes, that the the bad dream, Cody, was that was the end of a cycle, that marked the end of the cycle, and the painful past is over. You've seen the worst, and things are going to get better. And it's always a relief to know that you've seen the darkest night, and the sun's going to come up now, and it's a good place to be. Angela's saying, "I'm accepting of new beginnings and people, accepting of trying out new things." Yes, when we get stuck in any one step, we're not doing what our guides want us to do. We're supposed to finish number one, go number two, number three, number four, taking a series of small steps will take you anywhere. Angela says this is going to be a year of me trying more new things. And the only way you know if you if you want something, if you want to be a part of something, is to experience it. And you just can't replace that firsthand experience and the knowing of new things. It's why we're here, right? Is to learn and to learn from each other, and to learn from watching each other. It's getting to be so easy to follow um, so many people's lives. It's an amazing world that we live in. Cody says, "I believe 2023 will be a greater for all of us," and that's exactly what I'm seeing. Is that we had the five, the chaos, we had the recovery year, and now we get to actually in this coming year of 2023, we're going to be able to express to each other what's really in our heart. Stop all the backbiting and sniping at each other, and wouldn't it be just as easy to love each other as it is to hate each other? I think that's the idea that will come around finally. Angela says, "My life is going to drastically change, but in better ways." That's exactly what I see here. Is that in your life, the first thing that has to happen is to remove someone. There's someone holding you back there. There's someone who is not exactly who you need, and they're going to be taken away. Mayu saying hello from Mexico City. Mayu, Good to have you with us tonight. Anything SJ says Franklin can see what the cards say for me. SJ, you were on first tonight. You were the very beginning. And the first thing that I saw was you learning something that'll make money for you. Learning a new trade, learning a new skill, learning how to do it. Cody says number 7 is a lucky number. It's an amazingly lucky number for 7. There's 7 of so many down 7 days of the week, and the 7th day is holy, right? And SJ is thinking about it, thinking about learning something new, and getting out there. And that's really the whole trick, is putting yourself forward, getting out there that first time. I'll never forget the first time I was ever on stage. I had no idea that I could do it until I did it. And it seemed like the most natural thing in the world. It's just, I had never tried it before. Angela says, I'm open to any changes in the coming weeks. And that's really what's going to happen between now and the end of the year. That's my guides coming. Trying to say more than I can say right there about what's coming for you in the coming weeks, dear. There's a load of good things, and you being able to travel, to learn a new trade, learn a new way of making a living, of making your way through the world. Here's Cody saying, now I have seen the number 222, 227, 444, 555 a lot lately from this whole year. The Angela also saying life has something to learn every day, and so much of it is numerology. Pythagoras lived about 600 years before the time of Jesus, and Pythagoras taught in the school of Stoicism, the Greek school of Stoicism. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Take the middle road, as same thing the Buddha was teaching at the same time in India, amazingly enough. And Pythagoras said there was truth in numbers, that words were meant to hide the truth. And this is why you have 30 different words in Eskimo for snow, right? You're going to hide and shade the truth, and numbers really tell the truth. The numbers that you see are all meaningful and can be translated into the 2s and 4s are about working with other people, taking things one step at a time, not reading the last page first, letting everybody catch up. Don't get ahead of everybody, Cody. Don't. That's what these numbers are telling you. And 555 means that you have been through chaos. And 3 5s, you've come through it. You've seen the worst. And Cody's saying it learned a lot about the angle numbers of the different rays that come through the earth. Wow. Everything that comes to us on sunlight, on beams of sunlight. That is how the man who wrote under the name Alan Leo back in the 1830s came up with the idea of reading sun signs. And astrology suddenly not just being for kings and queens, but for anybody who knew what day they were born on. Angela says, I've been through a lot, but also learned from everything that I've been through. And there's the real key, Angela, is learning what what you were supposed to learn, what you were supposed to take from that situation. No two people were supposed to take the same thing. You had to learn your lesson before you could leave it. And that's a great lesson for all of us, all of we seers who find people that we can't help. And the reason is that they have yet to learn their lesson that they're in the middle of. And they can't leave it. They can't drop it. They can't let it go because they have yet to learn their lesson. And this is why we're all seeing new things every day. Why we're learning new things every day from each other. Think about how wonderful it is to not cut yourself off from the world and have only your own point of view. And that's very limiting. To be able to walk in another's shoes, to see it from their point of view, opens your mind, opens your heart, and lets you become truly a person who looks forward to the future, a person who has hope for a better future that opens new doors. Of course, and this is what your guides are right out in front of you doing, opening doors, unlocking some doors, putting a big lock on other doors. You cannot go in there. And Cody says, I've always said before plenty of times, I've always learning new things every day of my 26 over 25 years of life. Yes, yes. And isn't it amazing how much you can learn in a year's time? Think back to where you were just a year ago. And it's whoa when especially at the young age of 25, when media tells you that you're supposed to be a huge success already, that the younger the better. You're I mean, the young entertainers have been pushed to the limit, to the extreme. I saw Michael Jackson from the front row seat in 1970 performing with the Jackson Five, and you would have thought that he was magnetic. The entire crowd moved toward that youngster. They wanted to get close to him, to touch him. It was an amazing experience that some people are truly meant to be on stage. And the world that we are out here in, I do have hope for a much better future, says Angela. And I'm continuing to grow. And that lets you know that tomorrow is going to be better than today, that you're going to know more, you're going to understand more, and you're going to be able to give more. As Jay says, I love Michael Jackson. Truly a magnetic performer. It's amazing how some people give off just an aura about them. Uh, Cody says, working on becoming an entertainer. Cody, it's the only job left. Honestly, if you look at any sci-fi film, looking at the future, nobody's working. There's no more jobs. Robots are going to take over. Entertainment in our off hours, leisure time, entertainment has turned into the biggest industry in the world, and rightfully so. Right? It's communicating. An entertainer can truly communicate with people and take them along. What Johnny Carson used to always say: if you buy the setup, you buy the bit. Right? Angela says, I deserve more. Uh, Angela, yes, yes, because you deserve to be at the head of your own list. Think about that for a minute. How will you do for yourself what you would do for somebody else? And if the answer is no, you have to rethink this. You're as good as anybody, and you deserve to continue to prosper. Yes, deserving not not even demanding more, right? Entertain me, um, but looking forward to there being more, to getting outside the box. This world is so contained. It's so miniaturized. It's all right there in front of you. The entire world every day, and it's hard to grasp just how fast the world is moving while we stay the same. I, I'm 72 years old. I'm the same person I was when I was 25. Uh, when, my mother told me one time when she was getting into her 70s that she didn't feel any different than she'd had when she was a teenager. And I have I have used that knowledge to be a much happier person, to not look for the pot at the end of the rainbow, but to enjoy the rainbow, right? Cody says, for my love of comedy, music, dancing, singing, serious acting, making a difference, and making people happy. Oh, and the enjoyment that you get from a stage performance, that love that comes back is just amazing. Hika has joined us again this week, and uh, Hika, what is going on with you this week? A new beginning, a new start, putting putting an end to the past, and the seeing the darkness begin to break away. Uh, as Hika, this is this is in some ways it's an ending because the past is coming to an end, but it's a brand new beginning, and it's a brighter day that's about to dawn there. You can see the sun is rising. It looks good. Angela says fresh new starts. Yes, you can make one every day. Why not? Why not tell yourself that this is going to be a great day? It's hopefully yes, yes. Every day is a new chance to maybe meet your angels, to finally see and feel and know what's going on. Sooner or later, we all are. Asika says, can you intuitively see if there's guidance I can get on my connection with a certain soul that we will call S? Ooh. There's there's still recovery to go. It's not completely put together. One of you is coming off of uh, another relationship, some sort, and is just deciding that they do want to get back out into the world again. So if that's S, the message there is don't press too fast, too soon. Don't scare them away, right? But it does look like that's that you are the means of recovery. Yeah, you're supposed to be there. Um, Cody says, I still remember us talking about Orson Welles with serious acting in motion pictures, other radio programs in the 30s and 40s. Oh, yes, yes. Um, Citizen Kane is such an interesting movie because it's all about greed. It's all about getting more than you need. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Everybody used to think it was wonderful for the Sagittarians and the Pisceans to be ruled by Jupiter, the planet of good fortune, until after a few thousand years, the people finally figured out that yes, you can be overserved. No matter how good a thing is, you can get too much of it. And you personally can take too much when you take more than you need. This is really the problem with the world, the dog eat dog world out there. There's plenty for everybody. There's plenty of food on this planet to feed everybody every day. Angela says, I'm open minded to meeting new people. Angela, when what you're about to, there he is. That's the one who is not so much a father figure, but a mentor, the person who can tell you who you really are, what's really going on in your life, and help you find yourself. Wow. Yeah, you're right. That's you stay open minded to meeting new people because there's one on the way that is really is meant for you and will fall right into to place in your life. And Cody is saying there was a movie that Orson Welles did in the 50s went to a fortune teller in Mexico. It showed the original tarot cards. Wow. The um, yeah, yeah. Man, I can't remember what the name of the movie was because he made so many almost art movies because he truly his entire career he made whatever movie he felt like he needed to make. He never did it for the money, and that's being truly an entertainer, right? Entertaining yourself. Angela says it'll be good for me to find myself and unleash my full potential. Angela, to be the best you. That's all it's asked of you. It's people walk into your life for a reason, and it's usually to show you a reflection of yourself. That's why strangers just suddenly appear and then disappear. Is for you to be able to see yourself. Movie was called The Touch of Evil, and who was the woman? Was it Ava Gardner that was in A Touch of Evil? Oh, if not, she should have been. I've been watching movies forever, and to have access to any movie you want to see now is just it's almost too much. You don't even look forward to like the season in Christmas anymore, where they used to. That was the only time of the year when you could possibly see certain things on television. Um, Angela says people walk into your life for a reason. Cody's saying the touch of evil. It's there's the tarot cards that are shown in A Touch of Evil have come from Egypt. The cards come out of Egypt, India, and Asia at the same moment. Ever how that is possible, it did happen, and it's the gypsies who actually came out of India that bring these into France, and then they They don't really come to France until Napoleon's troops go and raid Egypt, and they find things like the, um, the Rosetta Stone. Franklin will get teeth fixed. my my I had this dentist, see, who stole my back teeth. And now my teeth are starting to migrate around. So it is just one of the wonders of getting old, is that you do begin to wear out your body. I truly, if you're any kids out there, take care of yourself. You know, Mickey Mantle said it best. If I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. And he meant it. Right? Uh, uh, and Cody says, I remember watching the Jackie Gleason show and episodes of The Honeymooners. They talk about astrology on that sketch. It was cool that they mentioned it. All the way back to Shakespeare. The, the people have been concerned with the spirit world forever. And it is amazing how in 1666 the powers that be, with the Spanish Inquisition, decide that tarot cards are a black art, and that astrology is a black art, and it should be completely taken away from the study of astronomy. And that's when things really begin to fall apart. Everyone deserves a shoulder to lean on and a bit of support, and that truly is is what we give each other, Angela, is a chance to express the almost unexpressible, because it's the unseen world. It's so hard to tell another person what you have experienced, because the spirit guides come to you for a purpose. My guides can actually, they tell me, see pages of the Akashic records. I can't, but they can actually access this. So I have to understand that anything they tell me has to be taken by a grain of salt, with a grain of salt, to know that they're trying to move me in a certain direction, trying to make me move, and to get up and do things. And the fact that my spirit guides come to me lets me know that the spirit world cares about me, of all people in the world. Uh, Cody's talking about the funny episode where Ralph was a Taurus, Norton, no Pisces, and Trixie. Astrology, really, at the time in the 50s, see, they're really making fun of astrology on television, because it's been um, it, people have if you watch the movies from the 1930s and the 1940s, they're all about discovering how fake psychics have infiltrated the entire country, and the movie industry really turns against the psychics who have come to this country, many of them from Russia, in the 1920s. There was a huge movement in the 1920s, and it was mainly about seances, and everybody got into the act of enhancing the seances to the point where they discredited the entire profession. And it's the 1960s and the hippies where we bring it back. where the age of Aquarius comes into being, and we all can begin to understand through music. It's the music that goes through a huge change in the 1960s. And so many people who had never even considered music to be an interesting thing suddenly were swept away by all the changes. Cody says, also, I've seen other TV shows mentioned astrology, like the Dukes of Hazzard and the Muppet Show, and this is what's happened in California in the past 50 years, where astrology has really had a rebirth. So, of course, that's what the writers in California are writing about on all of the shows. So, it's astrology has always been a very interesting thing, and I've dealt with it for about 50 years now. And it really takes that long to get to see California and New York City. Um, Cody, what you don't remember is when Johnny Carson moved the Tonight Show from New York City to the West Coast. It was a huge change, and I think the reason he did it was because that's when they open up Johnny Carson clothes, and he starts wearing all these wild clothes, right? And so he can sell them in the shops. And Carson probably had the biggest influence uh, of any American as to being able to finally accept the long hairs as as a part of the culture. It was Carson letting his hair grow down over his ears that finally convinces even Walter Cronkite to do the same thing, to not to look a little hip. And this is what everybody on TV is always trying to do. So um, this is how I learned to talk, was watching Johnny Carson at night and following that Midwestern non accent. And I think it's a language that so many of us of my age speak. Cody says he did the Tonight Show the first 10 years in New York, and then in '72 moved to California. Yeah, and see the real strange thing about Johnny Carson was that he did it for his mother. He became a ventriloquist when he was a very young kid, trying to get his mother's attention. And the whole thing of going on the stage was, trying to feel like his mother really loved him. There are different reasons that we get driven up there. Angela says you can feel when major changes are coming. Yes, you can. This is listening to your guides, and your guides never let anything slide and just suddenly drop on you. They've been giving you clues for the past week, but maybe you didn't see them. Maybe you had something else on your mind, and it's the easiest thing in the world to be distracted. Uh, it's The other thing about Johnny Carson, and Cody is sending another message here. The other thing about Johnny Carson was that he was the one who had the drinking problem. Ed McMahon was the one who had to go out and save him at night. He and Johnny's manager, and save him from getting into fights with other people. So the personality that we saw and fell in love with. No, you couldn't find a man, woman, or child in this country that didn't like Johnny Carson. And Carson was having a hard time within himself. I mean, you don't get married to 7 times if you're happy, right? And Cody says he had a big premiere on the Tonight Show when he first started. A lot of Okay. Okay. So before Carson goes to the Tonight Show, before he gets to the Tonight Show, he's on a daytime show with Ed McMahon as the announcer, and it's called "You Bet Your Life," where Carson just does odd things. You would think it was David Letterman who was doing it, but the the original Tonight Show with and of course Jack Parr comes along and it's just brilliant. But the original Tonight Show is Steve Allen, and Steve Allen has got to be the funniest man that's ever been on television. And before he was on TV, he was on radio, and he writes. I think he wrote like 50 books. The funny man, Steve Allen brought us Elvis Presley. Right. So SJ says, I watch it. And Cody says, big game show. Who do you trust? I remember once he had the world's fastest barber come out and give him a shave live on TV. Of course, everything was live originally on TV. we people of my age have really seen TV from the beginning and gotten to see what a huge difference television has made since we got cable television, and we have this invention of 24-hour news. Well, there's not enough news to cover 24 hours. So eventually, over what's it been, 50 years since the 70s, they've gone to creating their own news. Every single one of them does it. It's just an amazing way of turning news into entertainment, and that's what we're getting these days is an entertainment show that you're supposed to try and make sense of as a news show. Cody says before the Tonight Show, he was the first late night show called the Broadway Open House. 1950, but it didn't last long. There were that was a local show in New York, and in the early 1950s is when they really get network television working from coast to coast and really get homogenize the audience. Now, you kids out there can't imagine what it was like to only have 3 channels on the television, but now we've it turns out that 500 channels and there's still nothing on. They have yet to achieve the potential that that television could bring, and I think all of the troubles that they're having in schools these days, sooner or later, we're going to go to a form of online education. I don't think the idea of brick and mortar schools really works anymore. It's not going to work much longer, and so we have to really plan and be able to see what's coming up in the future, so we lay it out the right way. It's like what busing did to public schools all across the country. And, I mean, it does a radical change, and to be able to see these things coming, this is how people are staying ahead of the world. It's a strange inflation that we live in right now. There are certain companies who have monopolies on their part of the business world, and right now they're trying to shake every last dime out of each one of us because they can see the change is coming. It's there are so many huge businesses that are on the verge of having major changes. And Cody says, back in 1953, Steve Allen was only shown on local TV. But again, 54, when Steve Allen became the first Tonight Show host. Yes, Steve Allen. I remember reading Bigger Than a Bread Box. It was the funniest book I'd ever read in my life. How it got into the school library, I don't know. But this, uh, and Steve Allen was of course a completely clean performer, as Jay's saying, safe for the kids, and that's exactly right. When you see what children are learning on television these days, it uh, it lets you know that something has to change. So things have to get as bad as they can possibly get before they change. So each day, as a country, we grow, right, Angela? It's like we take two steps forward and then one step back, and it's just this continual uh, fight to get to the future. And the only way to ensure that the future is going to come is for each of us to know that the future is going to be better. That it's a place where we want to be, and where our children will be safe. That's that's all anyone's ever asked for their kids is just a safe place. So schools have turned into a babysitter. So many kids don't want to be there. That it really it makes a huge difference when the children understand the need for education and the reason for being there. So we do. We keep growing each day, and we keep looking for new entertainment and new entertainers, and there'll never be an end to the search for entertainment, because there'll never be an end of managers, right? Now, people trying to take advantage of the entertainers. So Cody says Steve Allen was on Tonight Show for 3 years, Jack Parr for 5 years, and then Johnny for 30. But see, Jack Parr, I guess 4 years in, quit. He had a run in with the producers, and he walked off the show. And about a week later, he came back and said, "Well, I was wrong. Okay, I need the job." But Jack Parr was uh, the first philosophical comic that was able, I guess, to get away with it. And he certainly set the stage for some of the great comics to come. And Johnny Carson learned from all of them. And it showed. Carson had such respect for the established comics when they came on. All right, never a false move, never an insult to even Don Rickles type. Right, he really he honored the people that he had learned from, the people that he had been exposed to as a youngster, and then as a young performer, and he always gave credit to those people. And Carson was one of the most influential people that you ever been, and he really felt that burden. People tried to get into his private life, and he just wouldn't let it happen. He told them that he that's not why he was there. Spring and summer of '62, says Cody, guest host for the Jack Bar after he retired. Boy, the guest host business. Now there was a cottage industry, and Jay Leno comes from guest hosting for the Tonight Show, and it was an amazing thing. Television used to sign off at midnight, and and really they were off at 10:30 after the news because there was nothing else to put on. Nobody watched TV that time of night. They had to create an audience and create a way of selling things to that audience with a late night crowd that I guess starts with college students and little old ladies. It was a little old lady I saw watching the Tonight Show that really got me hooked on it. It was a, a cousin's grandmother that they were living with. Right? Angela says, "This coming year, I'm going to find myself and learn more about myself and the world around me." And that is a great thought to put into effect on New Year's Eve, right? When you're making your resolutions, this is why people do it. Because if you if you say it is one thing, if you write it down, it is truly another thing altogether. And this is creating the visualization in your mind that it's going to happen. And that is a wonderful tool to be able to imagine how things are going to be, how you want things to be. This gives your guides a very clear image of what you want so that they can help you. Then in the fall of '62, Johnny finally came after his contract in the ABC daytime game show. Who do you trust? ABC television. Yeah, there was a time when ABC television was virtually unwatched. They were, and Cody says, was expired. There was, um, in the music business, the biggest change that happened was transistor radios. Up until the mid 1950s, the only radio in the house would have been in the living room, right? And the family would sit around the radio and listen. So the Japanese invention of the transistor radio and the batteries to go in it meant that kids suddenly could listen under the covers in the room all night long. So they had to make records for those kids, right? They had to have something to sell. And kids used to buy singles. This is how it started. Then the Beatles brought in the concept of let's sell an album for $3 instead of a single for one, and it kind of moved on from there. So a very big thank you to all who were in the chat room tonight. Interesting conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel. I'm Franklin, and you have yourself a good week.